Hi, welcome to another edition of Resonate with Edgehill and Davis. I'm Owen Edgehill.
And I'm David Davis. Hey, sir.
You alright, buddy?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What have you been up to? Since the last time
What haven't I been up to? Kind of the same old, but just involving with a bit more grandchildren stuff, and you know it is.
Yeah.
You know they bring you down to earth. Well,
do.
you don't yet, do you? Grandchildren,
Right.
but kids in general bring you down to
Why
earth.
did you say you don't? You
got grandkids?
Yeah.
Of course you have. Yeah. Sorry. Because you look so young. What cream do you use?
Coconut oil.
Coconut oil, folks. Yeah, remember that coconut oil. Yeah. Maybe I should get some. Oh dear. We do have a laugh.
We do indeed.
Yeah, grandkids, kids.
Yeah.
They kind of bring you back down to earth, don't they?
Right.
So with my grandson, the youngest one, I take him to karate. He goes twice a week. I take him once a week, and
Is any good?
he's only been doing it about 7 weeks. He's already got like a red belt with a white stripe, white belt with a red stripe, and 2 tags. I don't know what it means, but it's
Doing all right.
gone up a grade in that period of time. Yeah. So he's really focusing on it. He just loves it. Anyway, normally I'm kind of sat in a position where I can see him, and I'm there so proud, and do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's dear to your heart. And then last week, because we were running a bit late because it was pouring down with rain, so we had to change at the gym where he normally does the karate. And then by the time we got in, they're just about lined up and ready to start.
Yeah.
So of course there's a lot of parents there and grandparents there, whatever. So there's only one chair left. It was kind of around by a pillar, and I couldn't see him. I had to kind of be like that. Whereas normally I'm kind of there, just like engaged, just watching him. And this time it was just like, I had to kind of lean around the corner to see him. I couldn't move my chair because it's kind of full house. And so I was on my phone, just kind of texting and just looking around every now and again. But it seemed like every time I was on my phone for about 10 minutes, just kind of throughout the whole hour session. But afterwards he came up to me and he said, because he calls me Grandpops. He said, Grandpops? I said, yeah. So you didn't watch me this week? You're on the phone all the time. And I went, not all the time. He says, yes, every time I looked, you were on the phone. So every time he must have stopped to do something. He must have looked to see if I was watching. And I thought, damn, he's right. I shouldn't be on my phone. Yeah. I should have strained my neck for an hour watching him.
Yeah.
As I'm normally watching.
Yeah, right.
But this time looking around, and I thought, he's right. Phones are just like...
Switch your phone off, Dick.
Brought me back down to earth.
What made you not switch it off?
Because I couldn't see him. And I was so... you can't be looking at other children. Anyway, that's another story.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's just like,
but it's good that he switched on. It's good that he switched on, you know what I mean, and he knows.
But when we got home, this is the point I'm trying to make. When we got back home, I dropped him off at his mum's, got back home, and I went, my phone, I've left it in the gym. I thought, so I got all the way back there, and he looked at me and he went, serves you right.
Spot on, weren't he?
So when you're with your children and you're on your phone walking in the streets, you're pushing your pram and all the rest of it, or you're with your kid, instead of talking to them and listening to or being with them, not just physically but also mentally and emotionally,
right.
Leave the phone behind. They switch on. They know. They know.
Which is a good thing, and it's good that he mentioned it to you as well.
Yeah, but he's not shy of saying what he feels.
Good for him. Hi to everyone out there. Hope all's well with you. Good to see you all again. Right, D, and everyone.
Yeah.
Interesting to get your views on this. There is a saying, which we all are aware of, seeing is believing. You've heard of that, right? Seeing is believing.
Yeah.
So, which one comes first? Seeing is believing, or believing is seeing? The vast majority of people that you and I see, that you see, I would hazard a guess that they would say, I'll believe it when I see it. You've heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
What, you're going to make all that money? I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You're going to move to Bournemouth? I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
You're going to lose weight? I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Right? Most people are like that, right? So what I want to have a conversation with you about is what comes first in your eyes? What comes first in your eyes? Seeing is believing, or I believe it when I see it.
You do come up with some, don't you? Ooh.
Got you. Silence, D. Wow. It's the
Yeah.
first time you've paused, man.
Well, it's not, but this time is the longest.
All right, the longest
The longest pause.
Good. I don't think it's doing the same for you as well, Bucko.
Yeah. Does it make you think?
Yeah.
Does it depend? I say, does it? For me, it depends on a situation. I'd like you to express a little bit more of what you've put out there for all of us, please.
All right. If I'm in a situation where I want something to happen, whatever it may be, D, whatever it may be, I want something to happen. But I'll only believe that thing will happen when it's tangible, when I can see it, right? When I can touch it, yeah, right?
Touch it, yeah.
Okay. That means if I'm in that category of people, that means on a higher level, I haven't got any faith. Now, faith is the substance of things dreamt of, the evidence of things not seen. So when people talk about keep the faith, it's not necessarily because you've got faith in that particular thing that you see, which is tangible. It's the unseen that you know is going to come to forth. So
That you believe. Yeah. It's going to come to forth, yeah.
So if you say, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, but it's not going to come true until I see it, then it's not going to happen. So there's a phenomenal book, and I'll put it in the chat, Think and Grow Rich, by this guy called Napoleon Hill, 13 Principles of this Think and Grow Rich philosophy. You can either use it to grow rich financially or emotionally. And one of the chapters in the book is, or one of the lines in the chapters is, anything that a man or woman can conceive or believe, they can achieve. So if you can conceive it, if you can see it in your mind's eye, then it's going to come to forth. So the point I'm trying to make is, most people are in the category of seeing something and then they'll believe it, as opposed to, hold on a minute, I believe it's going to happen. And then when it does happen, yeah, I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Not ego, this is just faith. So my question to you and to you, where do you stand on it? Are you an individual who has to see something, it has to be tangible before you believe that it's true? Or before you believe that that person's real, coming into your life, whoever that person is? Or are you the opposite? So, seeing is believing, or believing is seeing? I'm of the category that we have to believe it before we see it. We have to believe it in it before we see it, as opposed to seeing it, now I believe it.
Okay, so I think I'll go. I think I'll go back to my original statement,
Okay.
which was it's dependent. Wrongly or rightly, in my opinion, it's dependent upon what it is. I mean, we can look at, and I know we mention this quite a lot on our channel. Lord God, Jesus Christ. People believe it.
Right.
But has anyone ever seen Jesus? Has anyone on this earth today, 21st century, seen Jesus? There's some people that may have done.
Right.
In their mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anyone seen God?
Right.
There's some people that may have done.
Okay.
In their mindset. But the majority of us won't have done.
Yeah.
But still believe in it.
Right.
There's a lot of people that don't believe in God,
Yeah.
Jesus, those things.
Right.
So kind of like, so I know where you're coming from in that sense.
Yeah.
And let's just say I'm a 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid, and I'm doing my exams.
Yeah.
And I have to, and I believe, because I've studied, and I haven't seen the paper,
Right.
but I've studied, I believe
Yeah.
I'm going to pass it.
Yeah.
Because I just believe in myself.
Yeah.
And therefore, when the results come out, you know, the results day is a big day for every kid.
Yeah.
They're excited, there's trepidation, there's that anxiety.
Right.
And there's those who will just sit back and go, I passed it anyway. So I don't need all this trepidation or worry. I'm confident.
Right.
Because within myself, I'm confident.
Right.
So therefore, they open the exam paper envelope, and it goes, I've passed.
Right.
And yet there are those that probably haven't passed or have got the grades that they didn't expect to grade to get to the university, or the grades they're expected to get to the university that they wanted to go to. Mm-hmm. They haven't got that.
Right.
And is that because they didn't see it? Is that because they didn't look forward to seeing? Yeah, I'm going to pass this. I'm going to pass this. I'm going to pass this. Or is that because they didn't actually do the study in themselves to know that that's the result they should have got? Does that make sense to you?
Great example. Great point. In my opinion, it's because they didn't see it. They didn't see it. They couldn't see. You know, many people do. You must have heard it. Oh, I can't see myself doing that. Yeah. Or I can never see myself doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And what shows up is they never do it. Or someone saying the opposite. Do you know what? Yeah, I could see myself doing that. I could see myself going wherever or doing whatever job or, you know, being with a certain person. I could see myself doing that. And all of a sudden, they're with that person or they're in that job. And it's because they've seen it before it came. It's because they had that confidence to believe in that one day they would see or they would get that situation. So someone could be studying really, really, really hard, to use your good example about the exams, right? Really bang at it, right? But because they don't believe that they will pass, that studying is futile. Because even when they're reading those books and they're writing those theses or whatever they do, in themselves, they don't believe that they'll pass. They don't believe it. So when it comes to exam time, they're still anxious, nervous, because they don't believe it. Whereas the other person who actually believes it becomes more relaxed because they can feel it. And when they're doing the revision, it's like smooth. Yeah, I know I can do it. I've got it. And then all of a sudden, opens the papers, I've passed. Whereas the other person who's really, really studied harder than the other person, hasn't got it. And that's because that person who hasn't got the grade didn't see it first.
Yep. Okay.
Didn't see it first because
yeah.
they didn't believe
Yeah.
that they would get what they wanted to get.
Well, there's a big thing. There's a big thing, isn't it, on realization,
Right.
on realizing and focusing. Johnny Wilkinson, rugby player. David Beckham, football player. For those that don't know, look at Simon Cowell as another example. Musical mongrel.
Mongrel or...
Did I say mongrel?
Mogul.
I went mogul then, didn't I?
Some people would tell me to say that.
Maybe he is a mongrel.
Yeah.
Musical mogul. You know, look at people that have done well in history. They've visualised themselves as being the president. They've visualised themselves of bending this ball when they take a free kick into the top right corner.
Yeah.
They've visualised the World Cup final, Rugby World Cup final in Australia back in 2005, when Johnny Wilkinson took that last kick for England to win the game.
Right.
He visualised he was going to take that kick. He'd done it before. He'd practiced it. He'd done it. And he visualised that's going in. It's going in. And lo and behold,
It went in.
it went in.
Yeah.
David Beckham, when we were meant to qualify for, I think it was a World Cup or European Championship.
I think it was World Cup.
It was the last kick of the game.
Yeah.
Free kick.
Yeah.
And Teddy Sheringham said, I'll take it. David said, no, you won't. I've scored this before.
Right.
Puts the ball down, back of the net, bang. We go to the championships.
Yeah.
So visualization, as I say, it's a big thing at this moment. You know,
It's always been a big thing, D. It might be a big thing now in terms of it being promoted more.
Yeah.
But what we talk about isn't
no.
a
It's
new
not
phenomenon.
New. It's not new.
It's
So what you're saying is correct.
yeah. Right.
And they're, I think, examples that
Yeah.
we can all kind of
Relate to.
resonate to.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So if you don't, if a person is one of them where they're saying, I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it, in most cases they're not going to see it. And it sounds quite easy that, but in most cases they're probably not going to see it because they're doubting it before it actually happens. They put a doubt there.
Yeah.
Whereas if the other person says, "Do you know what? Yeah,
It's so true.
I can see it. I can see myself being in this situation." So for those people who watch our show, D, which is a cross section of people, so the people who are in a relationship or have just come out of a relationship and it's been a real bind and it's been a real tough situation. If you don't believe that you can be better now that you're out of it, you won't be. For those people who are maybe struggling financially, who are thinking, I'll never get out of this situation, I'll never get out of this debt. If you keep thinking like that, you'll never get out of it. For those people who think, do you know what, yeah, I can meet someone really nice and have someone nice in my life, or I can have better health, that kind of thing. For those people who are thinking that all the time and taking action with it, they'll have it. And that D is the simple difference.
And it's true and it's real. It's real. The whole everything you've just said is so true. I can look at financial aspect. I can look at moving down here. I can look at health reasons, health situations. I can look at relationships. Remember my list?
Yes.
I can look at so many things in life and go, yeah. It is so true.
You believed it. You believed it.
Yeah, I believe it is going to happen. You see yourself doing it.
But isn't it sad that we're talking about it now and the vast majority of people never hear this kind of conversation? I'm not saying that there's anything super duper about you and I, but I'm just talking about in terms of us having this conversation for the realization for people to think to themselves, if I keep saying, I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it, it's never going to happen. It really isn't going to happen, D. But if I just switch that and say, do you know what? Yeah, I've got a feeling that I can do this. I've got a feeling I can transform this. I've got a feeling that this can get better. Then that faith, as I mentioned, that will come to forth. And all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it happened. And somebody will say, wow, how did you do that? And you say, well, I knew it would happen. And they would probably think that you're being a bit arrogant. But you're not being arrogant, as you mentioned with Johnny Wilkerson and Beckham and people like that, who have practiced.
You have to work at it.
To the point where they've just got that faith because they practice, because they just know it.
Yeah.
They know it. But they're not practicing in fear. They're not practicing in anxiety. Whereas we made the example about the student thinking, right, I need to spend 3 or 4 hours a day studying, but I don't believe that I'll do it. Then that's just nervous energy, which is getting in the way of taking that information in. And then lo and behold, when they're in the exam day and they're doing their exams, they wonder why they failed. Because they never believed it in the first place. So what was the point in...
Or didn't get the grades.
Whatever the situation, didn't get the man, didn't get the money, didn't get the health, whatever the situation that person wanted, they never got it. And then it's like, wow, but I put all this effort into it. I'm never going to do that again. Not realising that you've got to believe that you can do it. Rather than to think to yourself that you'll believe it when you see it.
So is that like a power of belief? Is that like, what would you put that down to?
Faith.
The faith itself.
Faith. Whether you want to get spiritual or religious about it, in terms of that word, that's what it is. It's faith. Knowing that, do you know what? I know that my life can get better than it is currently now. I know that my health can get better than it currently is now. I just know it can. I just know it. I've just got a belief. I've just got a feeling. I've got a feeling. And then all of a sudden, that individual then starts to take action coupled with that belief. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, it's happened.
So, again, you can transfer that into, as you said, a relationship.
Yeah.
Where it's a relationship which is, it's going to be a failed relationship because you don't believe it.
Right.
You don't believe it in yourself.
Yeah.
So eventually, you're going to have to get out of it. But to get out of it, you need to believe you're going to be in a better place when you do.
There you go. There you go. You need to believe that. If you don't believe it, it's pointless trying to get out of it. It's pointless. Because you might get yourself out of that situation, but you're going to be feeling bad that you come out of that situation because you didn't believe it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So you have to believe in it. So the belief comes first, isn't it?
And that could be transferred to someone that's homeless.
Yeah.
Because I read an article not so long ago about a guy who was homeless for about 9 months.
Yeah.
Ex-military guy.
Right.
He was homeless for about 9 months, but very well articulated in the sense that he was a master chef in the army.
Right.
In the army, and that's a big thing to get to.
Right.
But circumstances, what happens in life, left the army, had a job, wasn't probably the job that he wanted, but then became homeless. And then what happened basically was for 6 months he was living on the streets, 9 months living on the streets.
Yeah.
And from what I'm trying to recall from the article, he met someone that was in a restaurant business, and they just got chatting. I think he bought him a cup of coffee or something. He got chatting, and he said to this guy, "Oh yeah, I used to be in the army, master chef." And he went, well, I want you. We'll see how master chef you are. I want you to come and work for me. But he said he always knew he was going to get a job as a chef.
Right. After he left the army.
After he left the army, he always knew he was going to get a job as a chef.
Right.
But not just any chef, a Michelin star chef. But he was living on the streets.
Right.
And then he met this guy, and lo and behold, bang, he's in this guy's restaurant. This restaurant is now Michelin star because of this.
Right.
This guy that was 3 years before living on the streets.
So even though he was on Skid Row, he still believed that he would get to where he wanted to get to. There you go. Seeing his belief, he saw it before he came, because he believed in it.
Yeah.
But if he didn't, he would still be on the streets now.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why the vast majority of people who are on the streets stay on the streets, because they don't believe. They don't believe that they'll get off the streets because they can't see it. Now, someone might say, yeah, but they're full of alcohol, heroin and drugs and whatever, so how can they see it? But it's that feeling. Hold on a minute. No, I'm in this situation. It's bad. It's a rough situation. But I've just got a feeling that I can get myself out of it.
If you don't want to be in that situation, there's a will to get away out of that situation.
It. And that will could be, you've just seen something else. You've seen yourself, even though you're actually in a state of rock bottomness, you can see yourself through your mind's eye, third eye, call it what you want. You can see yourself in a better situation. When that better situation comes to fore, you're like, do you know what? Yeah, I knew this would happen. I knew it would happen, as opposed to the opposite.
And that's the other thing. Why I mentioned Simon Campbell, because again, I'd seen an interview with him. I'll keep it as brief as I can. Saw an interview with him, and he was just a mail boy in the music business.
Yeah.
Because he loved music.
Yeah.
He was just a runner.
Right.
Back in those days, he used to just, instead of having a mail boy, he used to have a runner. They used to go pick up something, take a disc or whatever it was, take it to another radio sort of record station, and take it here and then just run around. But he could see himself being a multi-millionaire.
There you go.
And even though he got so many obstacles put in the way, so I'm going to keep it short, I won't tell you what those obstacles were. So many obstacles put in the way, he just thought, no, I'm not going to buy to that. I'm going to do what I need to do to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
Because he saw it.
You could see it.
And here he is. And you could want to lose weight. You could want to go on a holiday. It could be anything.
Anything. If you can see it first, it'll come into fruition. The opposite, it won't. Just to bring this thing down for a landing, Dean, everyone. That's what we've got to do. We've got to think to ourselves. Again, it's all about doing the inner work, as we keep talking about. But the more we're in a situation where we can actually see something before it's tangible, we've just got that feeling that it's gonna come off.
The faith.
The faith, right? We're going to be in a better position. A lot better. And more times than not, we'll get what we want because we believe in it, as opposed to, I'll believe it when I see it. So that's it for me. You want to say a few words, as you usually do?
Beautiful. So I hope you all got the gist of that.
Seeing is believing, or is believing seeing.
Yeah. So thank you very much for tuning in again. I've got to cut it short, but please like, share and subscribe.